This is the brand new LC Racing BHC-1. A 1/14 scale racing buggy that, in my opinion, looks fantastic. I think LC Racing got a lot of their inspiration from the LC Mini B, and if you take a look at this picture, you can see they're almost identical. We've got a lot to get through today, so let's have a quick look at what you get in the box. So in the box, you've got a Gens Ace 1300 mAh 2S 30C LiPo battery, a USB charger, a very nice detailed manual which feels and looks like it's excellent quality. Lots of time and effort has gone into this manual. There's exploded diagrams, there's part numbers, everything you need is in this manual. You get a small parts bag which contains a couple of Allen keys, a bind plug and a spare servo horn. You get a set of decals. Finally, you also get the rear wing, which I have already fitted, but you will need to fit that yourself using the screws and the washers provided. Moving on to the transmitter then. Now this thing feels quite nice to hold. It's got a nice foam grip on the wheel. You've got your usual dual rate and trim adjustments, and I have actually seen these things before. I think FTX include these with a lot of their ready to run mini crawlers. Now I'm not a huge fan of these, and I wish it had a full size transmitter. Back to the buggy then. I've gone for the orange and black version, but there's also a blue version. I think the orange on this looks fantastic, and this has to be one of the best looking buggies we've seen so far this year. Now it is worth noting the primary use for this buggy is on a proper carpeted track and not really intended for bashing or throwing around at skate parks, but my local track is over 50 miles away, and today I will be testing it out on this pump track, which is concrete, but even so, we should be able to get a proper feel for the buggy and see how it handles. Right, so you're probably super excited to find out what's going on under the body shell, so let's take a look now. So let's talk about the electronics first of all then. Now we've got a 2-in-1 ESC and receiver, a 390 size 23 turn brushed motor, and a direct drive metal geared steering servo. Moving on to the chassis features then. Now this features a mid-mounted motor setup, plastic adjustable oil-filled shocks which feel really nice, a 2mm aluminium chassis and hex hardware throughout. You've got camber and toe adjustments, rear CVD drive shafts with an oil-filled diff, as you would expect, ball bearings throughout, and a very nice set of carpet tyres mounted on white dish wheels. There will also be a full range of optional tuning parts available soon. Now comparing this to the LC Mini B, this thing is essentially exactly the same. It's almost identical, but LC Racing have chosen to go for a 1/14 scale with this one, whereas the LC Mini B is a 1/16 scale. Now this is the ready to run version, but if you decide to go for the kit version, you also get an aluminium motor mount, aluminium shock absorbers, a slipper clutch assembly and a clear body shell, which you will have to paint yourself. Now I don't know about you, but I want to find out how fast this thing actually is using the included battery, so let's get that back in there and let's find out how fast this is on the included 2S. Right, so I've got the GPS ready. Let's start this up and let's see what we get. Right, so I'm just in this small car park here. This is going to be enough because it's not very quick out the box. Now I think this is probably going to be quick enough if you are on a proper track, a proper carpeted track, which is what this thing is designed and made for. It is only a 390 brushed motor, so I don't expect any miracles here. I'm going to guess 20 miles per hour maybe. Right, let's see what we got. 17 miles per hour. Not a bad speed, and considering this thing is made to be used on carpet with lots of sharp turns, I don't think that's too bad. Now that steering is very precise, and that's probably thanks to that direct drive steering servo. Jumps incredibly well. Very, very nice. And because this buggy's so light, it just glides through the air. Oh, straight on the grass. It's actually a lot of fun. And part of the reason for that is because it handles so well. You don't always need a fast RC car to have fun. Yeah, I think I'll definitely be going brushless on this, just for that little bit of extra power. I think if you was on an indoor track, the stock motor is probably going to be enough. But I can't help but feel like this thing does need that little bit of extra power. Another thing I want to mention as well, I'm not a huge fan of these transmitters, and if you are looking to compete with this thing, you want to be getting rid of this. The only issue with that is because it does use the 2-in-1 system, you will need a new receiver and a new ESC. So if you are looking to race this, I would say save up a little bit extra and get the kit version. Back to the action then. So smooth. Just gliding along. Oh! So the final thing we're going to do is an off-road test. Now, I don't think this thing is going to handle this sort of surface that well, but let's find out. So straight away, I'm not getting a huge amount of traction from those rear tyres. They are carpet tyres, and this thing isn't made to be used on this sort of surface. Oh, it's just going to keep getting stuck. Go! Oh, there's just no grip. This is probably the most pointless test ever. It was a lot of fun on the pump track, but over here, there's just no traction. And it's just not enjoyable. That was probably the most pointless off-road test I've ever done. So we didn't have much luck off-road, but on the pump track, this thing was a huge amount of fun. There we go then, what a great little buggy. Obviously this would be so much better on a proper carpeted track, as that is what this thing is designed for, but even so, it performed really well today. Please don't think this is an everyday throw in a bag and bash sort of buggy. This is purpose built and made to compete, and will feel at home on a proper track. Anyone looking for an everyday cheap mini basher, maybe consider something like the WLTOYS 144010. The WLTOYS is brushless right out the box, and it's even 3S ready. If you want to spend even less, look around and try and find a good deal on the legendary 144001, which used to be the king of cheap RC buggies. If it's racing you're interested in and you want to take it seriously, then this little buggy is perfect. So what am I going to do next? Well, I think I'm going to fit a cheap brushless system and get this little beauty back out again for more fun. Cheers for watching, see you on the next one. Now if you want to check out the WLTOYS 144010 that I mentioned earlier on in the video, click the top video now, or click the bottom video if you want to check out my top 10 cheap RC cars for 2023 so far.